So the next speaker on the program we welcome is Mr. Harry van Bommel.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, today the news is dominated by yet another former colony of the Netherlands, the independent country of Suriname. This only shows that the process of decolonization is a very difficult one, and that it takes decades before things are settled. And this is not only the case with Suriname or the Dutch Antilles, it is also the case with Indonesia. I am not proud to say that the process of colonizing and decolonization of the Netherlands' former colonies is not going the right way. We see that with all our former colonies. And Indonesia, as the biggest of them all, has the bigger problems as well. I fully agree with the former speaker that we should not let ourselves be taken hostage by the Indonesian government when it says it needs arms to protect itself to the surrounding countries. We should always look at Indonesia as a country that plays an important role in the region, but also a country that has severe internal problems. Internal problems with West Papua, internal problems with the Moluccas, internal problems in general with human rights, corruption, and other problems that may be seen as today's diseases of societies and young democracies. Indonesia is a country that has a special relation with the Netherlands through its history. This gives the opportunity and obligation for the Netherlands, for the Dutch government and for Dutch Parliament to look at this relation with a magnifying glass. We cannot let the economic relation between our two countries prevail above human rights. We cannot let the past influence our look on Indonesia and human rights in respect of West Papua and the Moluccas. And therefore I hope, with your support, and with the support of the majority in the Dutch Parliament, because the majority has said no to the delivery of tanks to Indonesia, that we will be able to keep this in mind, and that the Dutch government will not decide to sell superfluous tanks to Indonesia. Another issue that is always on the table when we talk about West Papua and about the Moluccans is raising the flag. Raising the flag of West Papua is not a crime. Raising the flag of the Republic of the South Moluccas is not a crime, but both are punished with sentences up to 15 or more years in prison. This is, under international law standards, ridiculous. And it is good that the Dutch government protests against these sentences, but it is a shame that it is only lip service that is paid to this ridiculous sentence. That at the same time the Dutch government is trying to reach agreements with Indonesia, both EU, Indonesia, but also bilaterally between the Netherlands and Indonesia, to deepen the economic relation between our two countries. I am not against an agreement with Indonesia, but I do object to an agreement with Indonesia on an economic basis if the human rights issues are not addressed properly. And that is not the case, both when it comes to aspects related to West Papua and the Moluccas. So until that is settled, you will not find my signature or my vote in favor of a bilateral or an EU-Indonesia agreement. For West Papua and the Moluccans, the right to self-determination is a fact under international law. The Netherlands should recognize this fact, and the Netherlands should live up to this fact. And we should bring up this fact when we discuss the political situation in Indonesia, in the EU-Indonesian debate, but also bilaterally. Because of our historic role in Indonesia, we should be the ones bringing this subject up. It is, of course, on the table, put forward by people in West Papua and in the Moluccas, but they are in a weak negotiation position. We have the stronger position. We have the historic responsibility to bring the subject up. And together with my colleagues in Parliament, in the Foreign Affairs Committee, we will remind our government that this is the historical background of the right to self-determination for both West Papua and the Moluccas. I mentioned the economic relation between our two countries. And fortunately, if we look at the economic developments in Indonesia, things aren't going that bad as in some other countries in the region. But economic profit and economic stimulants are not enough to get democracy going. Therefore, it is always up to NGOs, foreign governments, parliaments, and institutions that base themselves on international right to influence the developments in the democratic and in the justice aspects of a country. And therefore, I as a parliamentarian feel the obligation to support those organizations such as Peace Brigade International and others to help develop the rule of law and democracy in Indonesia, to the benefit of all people living in Indonesia, and especially to those peoples who feel that they are under the pressure of the Indonesian government, the Indonesian army, and the majority that closes its eyes for the historical aspects that are related to West Papua and the Moluccans. I wish you luck with your conference. I hope that you are able to put these issues on, not just on the political agenda, but also on the public agenda. In the Netherlands, we tend to look at countries in the Middle East opening up for democracy, but we seem to turn a blind eye to countries that are in our historical backyard. Thank you very much.